Hi and welcome to another tutorial, and today we're going to look at EQing of drums. And without further ado, I'm going to dive straight in and let's take a look at the kick for now. So I've soloed the kick, and let's just look at the MIDI. It's a simple 4-on-4 kick drum. I'm using a sampler and a sample of a kick to work on it, and this is our kick for today. Let's look at the EQing. I'm going to use EQ8, the stock EQ plugin of Ableton, and turn the mode to mid and side because we're going to work both on the side stereo and the mono's middle. So we start with the side first. As for the kick, I like to kick my kick drum in mono, and one of the simplest way to do it is to just filter out all of frequency. In fact, there is no frequency at all at the side, so this kick is already in mono, but just to make sure that there's no sides coming out, we can just filter it out that way. And now we are going to work on the mid EQ. What I like to do is always cut the low end of my kick. We are working in the G scale, so one good thing about Ableton EQ is that it actually tells you what frequency key that you are at. And so let's say, like over here, we are at actually G, and what I like to do is cut frequencies below the 50 Hertz mark, maybe at somewhere where it sounds nice, G sharp, because G sharp is not part of the G scale, so we can cut frequencies below that. And I'm gonna raise up the part where you need the kick to punch through, usually near the 80 to 100 mark. You can narrow down the bell shape here, so you can raise it to the amount that you feel that is audible enough. And you can see that I'm at the, if you look at here, while I move my cursor to the point, it's actually at G1, and since we are already in the G scale, I think we could raise up G, and it won't affect the tune of the kick. What I'm gonna do is use another bell, this time a sharp one. I'm gonna watch out. I'm gonna actually swerve through and filter out frequencies which are annoying, and usually just one octave away we should be as G2 will be annoying frequency range, and we can actually cut that out. Let's enable a few more filter cutoffs, and we can also cut off just after the G thing over here. So now that our kick is sounding a lot more cleaner at the bottom end. I like to filter out the high frequencies. Prefer with this straight cut, high cut. So I'll cut off frequencies. It really depends on the type of track you're looking at. Right now, especially in electronic music, the kick is the driving force behind the track, and if you notice, most of the kicks in most of the popular tracks right now are very prominent, and they really drive the track. And if you want to have that kind of thing, you might have to have a bit of high frequencies as well at mid-range, so that the kick actually punches through. But if you want a subtle, like a low-end kick, you can actually cut away a bit of the highs. But for this track, I'm gonna leave a bit of the highs. I still need the kick to punch through, and and but at the same time I don't want it to interfere with my mid frequencies where my the lead sounds and the pads are. So I'm gonna make a dip here, run this mark, and then raise up the bell a bit. So and right now I think we have a very nice and simple kick filtered out, and what we're gonna do is okay, I'm not gonna add any effects to the kick. I'm just gonna keep it as it is. What I'm gonna do is compress it so that the sound comes clear. Just a tad bit. You can leave the ratio at 2:1. Maybe around here. Get a fast attack and a fast release. All you need to do is to listen to how the kick is coming out when you adjust the attack and the release parameters. I think the release there is fine. I can bring down the knee to about 5. And just gonna compare it with the rest of the drums for right now. The volume parameter of the compressor, the makeup gain especially, but right now let's work on the other aspects of the drums. The next one is actually the claps, and same, I have a sampler with a sample, and we're gonna work with the same plugins, the EQ8 and the compressor. Both are Ableton stock plugins, so it's quite simple. Again, I'm gonna work in the mid side mode over here because I have to work with the stereo as well, because I need some stereo on my claps. So with the mid side, let's get started. What I'm gonna do is cut away much of the low end. In fact, for this clap, I'm gonna cut away anything below 500 Hz. So that might have room for my kick and my bass later on. So I think the cut here is good. And I'm going to increase the highs a bit, the high frequencies over here. And let's bring up the resonance so that we have a sharp. What I'm doing is actually scrolling through for annoying frequencies, and you can hear straight away that there's a few, especially this one. Yeah, it kind of stands out, so we're gonna cut that. And the same for the low end. You can hear, yeah. So straight away you can make a dip. Okay, I think that's pretty much it for the mid. Let's go to the sides. Same a low cut, and cut away the low frequencies below 500. You don't need too many. Just raise it at the sides so that your clap, has presence. See, what you can do is use another high resonant peak to just find out that annoying frequencies just after the cut, because when you master, and if you leave all these frequencies out and if you don't cut them, and once you master, the sound is going to be prominent, and all these frequencies, all these sound ranges are going to be prominent, and it's going to affect your track. So that's pretty much it for our kick. What I have done, actually, I have on the effects, the reverb and the delay here, I just need a bit of reverb on my clap. then my compressor, leave the ratio as 2:1. I think that's about there, it's fine. Bring down the attack a bit. I think can leave the release at here. Yeah. So now let's hear it together with the kick. I think it's sounding good. Let's work with the open hi-hat. Same thing, I got a sampler, the sample, and an EQ8 and a compressor. So just like with both the kick and the clap, we're gonna use the mid-side mode and filter out this time much of the low end because the heads are obviously the high end of the frequency spectrum. So what I've done is just cut away anything below 800 hertz, and can raise the tad here. So this you can hear the hi-hat through the mix. And let's raise up the resonance, and let's go through 4 frequencies which we don't want, and over here straight away we are hearing something, and let's cut that out, and let's throw through more. There's some more here, just cut it out. And that's about it for the center. Let's look at the sides now. Same thing, use the low cut to cut away. I think here you can cut a bit more since we have the side mode. You don't want too much on the low frequencies on the sides. You can raise the tad a bit here. I'm gonna just bring down here a tad, and I think it's sounding right, just perfect right now. And again, I'm gonna use the reverb. I also have the delay. I might add a bit of delay, just ever so slightly, that is barely affecting the open hi-hat. Then bring down the threshold a bit, and the attack and the release as well, and these two. Fine. So now let's hear it together with the clap, the kick. Now we got a real groove coming, and okay, now let's look at the close hi-hat. And again, I have a sampler with a sample, and with the EQ8 and the compressor. And I'm gonna use the low cut again, cut away. You can see that the sample, the close hi-hat sample of this one has a lot of low frequency as well. I'm gonna cut away all that so that it doesn't interfere later on with my other instruments. And I'm gonna raise high end a bit, and again I'm gonna just roll through for annoying frequencies straight away or hearing some. So let's cut that out. And over here as well. It takes kind of a bit of practice before you can actually know where the frequencies that you don't want will be. But of course, if you keep working on it and you keep practicing it, you will definitely get it. The more practice you have, and the more better you become at catching all those frequencies that you don't want. Alright, it's all about practice and having a good pair of headphones. That's about it. And sorry, I forgot to change it to mid-side mode again. So you can see there's not much of a side frequency here. What we can do is just bring out whatever that is. I think there's nothing much you can do to the sides, but anyway, once you add a bit of reverb, the side's going to be coming up pretty much. Okay, and I think that's a bit tad too much reverb. I just want to keep it a bit simple for this close hi-hat. So bring down the attack and the release. Taking down the threshold a bit, and yeah, now we are getting it. And I'm gonna off both the other sounds, and let's hear it together with all the drums. Alright, and there we have it. The full drum EQ'd, and you can notice that if you listen carefully, you can adjust now the volumes and see which one you need to stand out. I think that's perfect. Of course, you can go on adjusting later on once you have the full track, and then you have to come back and work at it again. And working and mixing of drums or any other instruments is just like that. You do your initial EQing and mixing, and then once the whole track is done, you come back and you work on it again. And but for right now, we are quite happy with the kick and the clap and the hi-hats. And there you have it, a complete drum groove. And you can post your comments or questions at the links below, and I'll see you again. Thank you.